Good afternoon. It's Saturday the 20th of January and you find me driving west across the south of England to Somerset. This time I'm going to Weston-super-Mare, to a little place called Brean Down. And I've packed my fully charged head torch because this 10k is in the dark. Welcome to Storm the Fort. Isn't that fantastic? That was evil. Got all tingly. Where's this guy finish? Small dog. You find out what you're made of. Frying bacon. It's about 1.5 miles long, 97 metres high, and we're going to run up the pass over there and do 2 laps.
Everybody's ready? Yeah! 3, 2, 1,
So people have been fighting, farming and living on this little lump of limestone for 10,000 years. Let's find out a bit more about it. Thanks, marshals.
Thank you.
Here you might be able to see Weston-super-Mare over there. So Brean Down is at the end of the Mendip Hills. It's the mouth of the River Axe. And 2,500 years ago, they used to get lead out of the Mendip Hills, sail it up the Axe into the Bristol Channel. The Iron Age people built a fort just here. If you didn't know it was here, you'd go straight past it. I filmed a bit earlier. Let me show you that now. The Iron Age fort. You can just see, I don't know whether you can see the ditches and the gullies. But this is where it would have been. You can see the big back wall there, and then various ditches through there, looking out over the mouth of the River Axe and into the Bristol Channel. Thank you, marshals.
You'll be back before you know it.
Locals coming up. Looks like some belted Galloways. We're doing an anti-clockwise loop around Brean Down, and we're currently running on a relatively flat metalled road, so it was an old military road. And I'll tell you more about the military side of things as we get towards the fort, which will be at about 1.5 miles in. And over there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's Cardiff. This side of the down, the north side, is protected from the prevailing southwesterly winds. So it's actually more gently sloping and more covered in grass. The other side, which will go back down, gets the full force of the winds, and that's where I'm expecting to find out how strong the winds are tonight. And that's much more like a cliff. So back in the 1860s, they were worried about Napoleon, not Bonaparte, but Napoleon III. And he was making all sorts of fighting noises. So the Prime Minister of the day, Lord Palmerston, decided we should build a series of forts all the way around the UK. And they were known as Palmerston forts. And one of them is right up here on the end of Brean Down. And that's where we're heading to. Hence the name, Storm the Fort. So the leaders are up at the top already. So we're just coming down to our Napoleonic Fort. Thanks, marshals. Mind the cow pat, they said. So this is the fort, which again is cared for by the National Trust. Thanks, Marshall.
That's holes.
Steps. Now that looks cool, doesn't it? There's all the 10Ks and the 5Ks coming up, and here's the front runners going away up the hill and over there. I hope the camera's getting some of this. The fort was used for about 20 odd years and then fell into disrepair until they brought it back into service in the Second World War, and I'll tell you about that on lap 2. This is in fact steeper than that first part of the metal road we went up. Thanks, Marshall.
Don't look at the floor, there's no money around there. Look out.
So that's Weston-super-Mare over there, and then Bridgewater over there, and us on a Saturday night here. Here's the trig point. Thanks, Marshall. There you go, bag of trig point on you. Summit baggers. On the left, just where I was, I couldn't see it in the dark. There are in fact some really old Celtic field system. Some really small rectangular fields which would have been created maybe 1600 years ago. The road we came up from the start is the easy route. There's some really steep steps that bring you up just up here a little bit. And most people coming up here don't know it, but there's actually a Celtic Roman temple underground here, built about 300 AD. It then got taken down about 50 years later, and some of the rocks and stone which was quarried here on Brean Down used to build other things, not least a little hermit's hut. Here's the fast 10K boys going back. This is where we rejoin the easy road as well. Thank you, Marshalls. Yeah. Ooh. Here we go. This is back down to the start, and we're going to go round a cone and all the way back up again. Thank you, mate.
There if you want it.
No, I'm good, thank you. And back again we go.
10K runners round the cone.
Thanks, Marshalls.
Keep going, well done.
In the Second World War, soldiers used to do machine gun practice here, firing their guns into Weston-super-Mare Bay behind me over there. And there's this little hut just at the side here, which is one of those posts. Another thing they did here in the Second World War was to test some experimental weapons. So one in particular was a thing called the bouncing bomb, which was used in the dam busters raid, if you know about that. And The idea was it would bounce across the surface of the water, much like skimming a stone. And then, if you got your sums right, it would then hit its target just under the waterline, which in this case was the industrial dams of Germany. And they tested it here. Well, I say they tested it. They put a dummy bomb on a truck, and then they ran it down a little ramp at this fort. And the idea was that the truck would hit the buffers at the end of the ramp, the bomb would slide off into the water at exactly the right angle, and it would bounce. But they got their sums wrong with the buffers, and the truck went straight through the buffers over the end of the down, and that was the end of that piece of practicing. Right. Thanks, marshals.
Well done.
Blimey. Right, back up this evil climb now. I don't know if you can see it, there's a guy in a Pro-Vis jacket up that hill, and he's standing out like a beacon. It's fantastic, really. It really shows what they can do. This is steep. If you find yourself in Weston-super-Mare, I strongly recommend coming and doing a 5k around Brean Down. It is fantastic training for Beachy Head Marathon. Don't do it in the dark though, that's just crazy.
Don't forget to smile. You never know where a camera is. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself.
Well done, mate, you've got a cold job there.
Don't forget to have fun.
Right, don't forget to have fun, he said. You're supposed to be enjoying yourselves. Here we go then. Here's that trig point again. Thanks, Marshall. Because there's obviously cattle, we've seen those, and sheep and rabbits and feral goats. So goats that were domesticated but escaped and have gone wild. So feral goats as well. Not that there's any to be seen right now. They ain't that stupid. There's also a bombing range just over there in Bridgewater, or just on the beach near Bridgewater, not far from Hinkley Point nuclear power station as it happens, although that wasn't there in the war. And just up here, which you can't see because it's dark, there is a great big concrete arrow, so that the bombers, as they were flying down the coast, would see this arrow and would know that they followed that exact bearing, and it would lead them to their bombing practice zones. So I got here a bit early this afternoon, so I nipped up here and took some footage of it. Let me show you that now. Thanks, marshals. Thank you. And now another hill. For those who follow me on Strava, you'll know that I've actually been doing really badly on my training plan to go for my 5k PB in February. I've really lost my mojo this last month. This is why I run. Stupid challenges against yourself with views that nobody else would see today apart from us loons. Bloody marvellous. When you look over your shoulder and see all those head torches coming, it does feel a bit like being hunted down by a posse of trail riders. Adds a little bit of spice, doesn't it? Thank you, marshals, thank you.
Great work, nearly there.
Brilliant. Just that final downhill and then the run in to the finish funnel. Thanks, marshals.
Keep going, well
Brilliant,
done.
thank you.
Nearly there.
Here we go, last bit. Mr. Provis standing out like a beacon. Thank you, marshals. Thank you. 4. Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, I'll see you around the end.
Here we are. Stormed the fort, 10k done. And I reckon that was a good 300 metres of elevation. I was a bit late starting the watch, so I would think we're an hour and 15 for it, but couldn't have gone a lot quicker. Oh. The lovely National Trust people have kept their cafe open for us. So it's probably 8:45 by now. They've kept the cafe open, so I'm just going to quickly go and get my puffer jacket. Thanks ever so much for coming along on this journey. So that run exactly reminded me why I like doing this kind of nonsense. And I think I need to do more of that, and that'll solve this mojo problem. So I don't know what the next run's going to be, but I have got some really good exciting ones coming up, and I'd love it if you came along with me. But in the meantime, thanks ever so much for joining me on this one. If you want to stick a thumbs up, that helps YouTube share it with more runners. If you want to subscribe, then you won't miss any of my future ones. So thanks once again, and I'll see you very soon. Garmin called that one strained. It's not kidding. If it knew how I've been feeling. But strained. God, I've never seen that before.